$500 billion buys more than private jets and palaces. It buys influence. Elon Musk's empire now stretches from Earth's orbit to AI labs shaping global policy. But what his family is investing their wealth in next has governments nervous, and it's not space exploration this time. The fortune and the family empire. In early October 2025, Elon Musk achieved what no human being had ever accomplished before. His net worth briefly touched $500 billion. That's $500 billion. To put that in perspective, if you spent $1 million every single day, it would take you over 1,200 years to exhaust that fortune. But here's the fascinating thing. The man who reached this unprecedented milestone often describes himself as cash poor, claims to live in a $50,000 tiny home, and has pledged to sell almost all his physical possessions. So how does someone with this incomprehensible wealth actually spend it? And perhaps more intriguingly, how does his sprawling, unconventional family benefit from this fortune? The answer reveals a complex web of business reinvestments, selective luxury purchases, family accommodations, and philanthropic ventures that challenge our assumptions about billionaire spending. Musk's wealth stems primarily from his stakes in Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI. Approximately 12% of Tesla valued at $195 billion, 42% of SpaceX worth $89 billion, and 54% of XAI at $27 billion. This means the vast majority of his fortune exists not as liquid cash in bank accounts, but as equity in companies he's actively building. It's wealth on paper, tied up in stock certificates and ownership stakes that would crater in value if he tried to sell them all at once. But Musk isn't just a solo entrepreneur hoarding wealth. He's the patriarch of an extraordinarily complex family structure that includes 14 children with 4 different women, though one child tragically passed away in infancy. His ex-wives and partners include science fiction author Justine Musk, British actress Tallulah Riley, whom he married twice, Canadian musician Grimes, and Siobhan Zillis, a top executive at his brain-computer interface company Neuralink. Each of these relationships has resulted in children, and each has required financial settlements, ongoing support, and increasingly elaborate accommodations to keep this unconventional family connected. Then there's his extended family, his mother, Mai Musk, a successful model and dietitian with an estimated net worth of $20 to $45 million. His brother Kimball, a restaurateur and philanthropist worth $500 to $900 million, largely from early Tesla and SpaceX investments. His sister Tosca, founder of the streaming service Passionflix with around $170 million to her name. And his estranged father Errol, who built modest wealth from emerald mining and real estate in South Africa, estimated at $2 to $5 million. The spending story begins with what Musk calls his most important investment, pouring capital back into his businesses. SpaceX, now valued at $400 billion, receives continuous infusions of capital to fund its Mars colonization ambitions. Musk has stated repeatedly that he wants as much of his wealth as possible dedicated to making humanity a multiplanetary species. This isn't traditional spending in the consumer sense. It's reinvestment on a scale that makes most venture capital look like pocket change. But perhaps the most controversial expenditure in recent years was the $44 billion acquisition of Twitter, now called X, in 2022. Managed through his family office called Accession LLC, this purchase required Musk to take on $13 billion in debt and sell $23 billion worth of Tesla shares. The transaction, aimed at promoting free speech on the platform, has been financially tumultuous, but it represents how Musk's spending often blurs the line between personal ideology and business strategy. His family office, Accession LLC, named after a science fiction novel and established in 2016, handles these massive transactions discreetly, with up to $3.5 billion in loans collateralized by Tesla shares flowing through its accounts. Then there's the real estate empire, though Musk would bristle at that term. After pledging in 2020 to own no house and sell almost all physical possessions to fund Mars missions, he did indeed sell nearly $130 million worth of California properties between 2020 and 2021. These included a stunning $17 million Bel Air chateau that sold for $29 million, multiple additional Bel Air mansions purchased between 2012 and 2016 for over $50 million that sold as a bundle for $62.5 million, and a historic $23.4 million Hillsborough mansion that fetched $32 million. Gene Wilder's former estate, which Musk bought for $6.75 million in 2013, with the stipulation that it never be torn down to preserve its soul, was sold for $7 million in 2020, though he later repurchased it in 2025 after the buyers defaulted on the loan he'd provided them. But here's where the minimalist narrative gets complicated. While Musk talks about living in a $50,000 boxable casita, a 375-square-foot prefabricated tiny home in Boca Chica, Texas, near SpaceX's Starbase facility, the reality of his accommodations is far more complex. That tiny home, which he initially claimed as his primary residence, now serves as a guest house. He also rents a 3-bedroom ranch from SpaceX in Boca Chica, valued at just $50,000, and purchased a $6 million 900-square-foot mansion in Westlake Hills, Austin, in 2022. But the real estate story that truly captures the complexity of Musk's family spending is the secret $35 million compound he purchased in Austin in 2024. Despite Musk's denials on social media, "I don't own nor am I building a compound in Austin," investigative reporting revealed he bought 3 mansions within walking distance of each other. The centerpiece is a 400-square-foot Tuscan villa, accompanied by a 6-bedroom mansion and a third property about 10 minutes away. These were purchased at 70% above market value with strict non-disclosure agreements to maintain secrecy. The compound's purpose speaks to Musk's pronatalist philosophy and unconventional family structure. With 11 living children ranging from young adults to toddlers, Musk envisions a space where his children can interact as siblings despite having different mothers. Siobhan Zilis, the Neuralink executive who has twins with Musk, has reportedly moved into one of the properties, while Grimes and his first wife, Justine Musk, have reportedly steered clear of the arrangement. The compound allows Musk scheduled time with different groups of children while fostering sibling relationships, a logistical solution to an extraordinarily complex family situation. Beyond personal real estate, Musk's companies control over $3.4 billion worth of Texas properties, spanning more than 6,000 acres and 500-plus individual parcels. This includes 2,500 acres around Tesla's Austin Gigafactory, 900 acres for SpaceX's Starbase in Boca Chica, which Musk petitioned to become its own municipality in 2024, and 440 acres near Bastrop for a development called Snailbrook, envisioned as a self-sustaining town for Boring Company and Starlink employees, complete with below-market rent, a factory, restaurant, shops and playground. This blending of personal and corporate assets characterizes much of Musk's spending. The lines blur between what serves his business interests and what accommodates his family, between what's necessary for his company's operations and what's a personal indulgence. It's spending that defies easy categorization, much like the man himself. The luxury paradox and family benefits. Let's start with aviation, because nothing says I'm cash poor quite like owning a fleet of private jets valued at over $100 million. As of 2025, Musk's active fleet includes 3 Gulfstream aircraft, 2 G550SS registration numbers N502SX and N272BG, and 1 G650ER N628TS, with a brand new G700 on order. These aren't just status symbols, they're essential tools for someone juggling responsibilities at Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink and the Boring Company, plus increasing political commitments in the Trump administration's advisory circles. The numbers are staggering. In 2024 alone, Musk's jets completed 355 flights, logging 881 hours crisscrossing the globe. The Gulfstream G650ER, his flagship aircraft, cost approximately $75 million when purchased in 2016 and can fly 7,500 nautical miles at Mach 0.925. Fast enough and far enough to get anywhere on Earth with minimal stops. It features a full galley, conference area, private stateroom, and seating for up to 19 passengers in luxurious comfort. The 2 G550S, acquired in 2003 and 2007 respectively, each cost around $14 million used and offer 6 750-mile range with capacity for 20 passengers. Annual operational costs run into millions per jet. One analysis put 2023 fuel costs alone at $3.2 million. And here's where the environmental contradiction becomes stark. While Musk champions sustainability through Tesla's electric vehicles, one 45-minute flight on his private jet can produce 4 tons of CO2 emissions estimates that private jets generate at 14 times the rate per passenger compared to commercial flights. His 2022 carbon footprint from jet travel exceeded 132 times that of an average person, a figure that doubled in 2023. Leaked documents have revealed Musk's particular flight preferences: no chit-chat with crew members, no flight attendants offering gadget assistance, and an obsessive focus on productivity during flights. Though Musk earned his pilot's license in 2002 and initially flew aircraft himself, he stopped personal piloting in 2008, citing safety concerns as his family and business responsibilities grew. Now, professional crews handle the flying while Musk works. The jet spending has created its own controversies. Musk has successfully lobbied the FAA to implement new rules hiding private jet tracking data, calling it the final nail in the coffin for flight trackers after college student Jack Sweeney created accounts tracking his jet's movements. The privacy push came amid lawsuits and Twitter bans, but critics note the public interest in tracking a man whose companies receive billions in government contracts and who now holds advisory positions potentially shaping FAA regulations. Then there's the vehicle collection, though calling it a collection almost misses the point. Musk primarily drives Tesla vehicles, turning his daily transportation into product testing and brand promotion. His current rotation includes a Tesla Model S Performance as his main driver, a Model X for family outings, and a prototype Cybertruck that he's famously declared will be my personal vehicle. But tucked away are two notable gas-powered holdouts that reveal his sentimental side: a 1967 Jaguar E-Type Roadster, which he calls his first love despite its constant breakdowns, like a bad girlfriend, he's quipped, and a 1920 Ford Model T, gifted to him and representing the automotive disruption he emulates with Tesla. The most eccentric vehicle purchase reveals Musk's playful side: the 1976 Lotus Esprit Wet Nelly submarine car from the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me, purchased at auction in 2013 for approximately $920,000. It was just a movie prop, unable to actually function as a submarine, but Musk announced plans to retrofit it with Tesla electric motors to make it a real amphibious vehicle. The project sits unfinished, a $920,000 toy gathering dust, but perfectly encapsulating Musk's blend of childhood fantasy and engineering ambition. His past vehicles tell stories of evolution and excess. The 1997 McLaren F1, purchased for around $1 million after the Zip2 sale, became his daily driver until he crashed it uninsured in 2000. While showing off to Peter Thiel, the car spun like a discus and required expensive repairs before eventually being sold at profit. A 2006 Hummer BMW M5 tuned to 600 horsepower inspired Tesla's ludicrous mode after Musk experienced its acceleration. And perhaps most famously, his personal 2008 Tesla Roadster now orbits the sun, launched into space in 2018 aboard SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket, with Starman dummy at the wheel. The ultimate in cosmic collectibles. Jewelry and accessories represent rare personal indulgences. Musk owns a $200,000 Richard Mille watch and a $50,000 Audemars Piguet, along with Tag Heuer and Omega timepieces. He commissioned a $37,000 custom Tesla diamond and ruby ring from celebrity jeweler Ben Baller, and has been spotted wearing limited edition Tesla-themed Air Jordan sneakers at events. For someone who claims not to care about material possessions, these luxury accessories suggest selective indulgence when something captures his interest. Vacations are theoretically anathema to Musk's workaholic identity. He's famously declared that vacations will kill you, arguing that taking time off creates opportunities for competitors. Yet in 2022, he was photographed on a luxurious vacation in Mykonos, Greece, aboard the chartered superyacht Zeus, which accommodates 20 guests and costs over $7,171 per day. The yacht came with snorkeling equipment, a skipper and crew, and Musk was joined by friends, including Hollywood power agent Ari Emanuel. The photos went viral precisely because they contradicted his no-vacation rhetoric, revealing that even Musk occasionally needs Mediterranean downtime. Now let's talk about how his extended family benefits from this fortune. His first wife, Justine Musk, received over $20 million in their divorce settlement, including child support for their 5 sons. They had 6 children together, but their first son tragically died of SIDS at 10 weeks old. Tallulah Riley, whom Musk married and divorced twice, received similar settlement amounts totaling into the tens of millions. Grimes and Siobhan Zillis benefit from ongoing support for the children they have with Musk, though exact figures remain private amid custody arrangements. Musk's brother Kimball has built a fortune of $500, $900 million largely through early Tesla and SpaceX investments, supplemented by his restaurant empire The Kitchen and his non-profit Big Green, which builds learning gardens in schools. Forbes noted in 2025 how Kimball Musk rode his brother's billion-dollar rocket ship to wealth, though Kimball has carved his own identity as a chef entrepreneur and philanthropist. Sister Tosca Musk's $170 million fortune comes primarily from founding Passionflix, a streaming service for romance adaptations. She's noted that the Musk name is a blessing and a curse. It opens doors but also leads to inflated prices and heightened scrutiny. Mother May Musk, worth $20, $45 million from her modeling and dietetics career, embodies an interesting contradiction. She emphasizes frugality despite appearing in glamorous campaigns, reportedly sleeping in garages or on couches when visiting Elon to avoid expensive hotels. Meanwhile, estranged father Errol lives luxuriously in South Africa on his $5 million fortune from emerald mining and real estate, maintaining assets like a Bentley. A sharp contrast to his son's public persona and the reason for their estrangement. The family dynamics reveal how Musk's fortune creates both opportunities and complexities. His children attend elite private schools, some in Ad Astra, now Astronova, a school Musk founded for innovative education. The $35 million Austin compound attempts to solve the logistical puzzle of having 11 children across multiple households, though 2 of the mothers reportedly avoid the arrangement. It's unprecedented wealth meeting unprecedented family complexity, creating solutions that no prenuptial agreement or traditional family structure could anticipate. Philanthropy, politics, and the bigger picture. Perhaps nothing generates more controversy about Musk's spending than his approach to philanthropy. Through the Musk Foundation, established in 2001, he has donated approximately $657, $800 million lifetime through 2023, with grants focusing on renewable energy, space exploration, pediatric research, STEM education, and AI safety. That sounds impressive until you realize it represents roughly 0.1-0.2% of his current net worth, a proportion that makes even critics of billionaire philanthropy wince. The foundation's structure reveals the complexity. By the end of 2023, it held approximately $5 billion in assets, primarily Tesla stock. But here's where it gets problematic. The foundation consistently falls short of the IRS requirement that private foundations distribute at least 5% of their assets annually to maintain tax-exempt status. In 2021, it had a $41 million shortfall. In 2022, that grew to $234 million. By 2023, the deficit reached $421 million. Foundations can make up these shortfalls in subsequent years, but the pattern suggests wealth preservation taking precedence over charitable impact. Let's trace the giving history. Annual grants started modestly, typically under $1 million in the foundation's early years, supporting small educational initiatives and research projects. In 2015, Musk donated $10 million to the Future of Life Institute for AI safety research, one of his earlier substantial gifts. But the giving trajectory changed dramatically in 2021, when Musk transferred $5.7 billion in Tesla stock to the foundation, ballooning its assets and enabling larger grants. That same year, the foundation donated $55 million to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, tied to SpaceX's Inspiration 4 civilian spaceflight mission. A $100 million X Prize for carbon removal technology was announced, with $50 million awarded in 2025 to Mati Carbon for their innovative approaches. In 2022, Musk announced $100 million toward a STEM-focused university in Austin, though details remain murky about whether that university has materialized. The December 2024 donation captures the pattern perfectly. On December 30th, 2024, Musk donated 268,000 Tesla shares valued at approximately $108, $112 million to unnamed charities. The recipients remain officially undisclosed in SEC filings, leading to speculation that the shares went to the Musk Foundation or related entities. The charities informed Musk they had no immediate plans to sell the shares, a detail that raised eyebrows among philanthropy watchdogs. This donation exemplifies Musk's philanthropic strategy. Stock gifts provide tax benefits. Donors can deduct the fair market value without incurring capital gains taxes, potentially saving tens of millions. At the time, Musk's net worth stood at approximately $408 billion, making this donation roughly 0.03% of his fortune. Critics argue that while these gifts provide tax relief, the Musk Foundation has consistently fallen short of the IRS required 5% annual asset distribution in 2021, 2022, and 2023, potentially prioritizing tax shelters over immediate charitable impact. The Foundation's mission statement emphasizes grants for renewable energy, space exploration, pediatric research, science education, and safe AI development. Lifetime donations through 2024 reached approximately $406, 750 million disbursed, though much remains tied to Tesla shares whose value fluctuates wildly. Beneficiaries have included conservative organizations like the National Taxpayers Union in early years, environmental groups like the Sierra Club and National Wildlife Federation, educational initiatives like Hack Club, $4 million for coding education in 2023, poverty relief organizations like Give Directly, $2.2 million, and even the Wikimedia Foundation and the Clinton Foundation. But here's the controversial part. Critics note that approximately half of grants tie to Musk's personal network. In 2023, one recipient received $137 million for a STEM school with Musk connections. His brother Kimball's non-profit Big Green has received foundation support. Early donations went to OpenAI when Musk co-founded it, and grants to the University of Pennsylvania supported AI research where Musk had connections. Even the $30 million in 2021 donations to Texas schools and $10 million for Brownsville revitalization benefited communities where SpaceX operates, arguably serving both philanthropic and business interests. Musk signed the Giving Pledge in 2012, committing to donate the majority of his wealth during his lifetime or in his will. But his public statements suggest he views his companies themselves as his primary contribution to humanity. He's argued that making electric vehicles mainstream, enabling multiplanetary life, and developing beneficial AI represent more significant impacts than traditional charity. It's a philosophy that reframes the question, is building Tesla's gigafactories and SpaceX's Starship philanthropy by other means, or is it a rationalization for minimal charitable giving? Then there's political spending, which has exploded in recent years. Musk was the top donor in the 2024 election cycle with approximately $292 million in contributions, nearly all directed toward Republicans and specifically supporting Donald Trump's campaign. Reports indicate roughly $250 million went toward Trump's election efforts, making Musk possibly the largest single contributor in American political history. In June 2025, during a public fallout, he donated $15 million to Republican super PACs before reconciling with Trump. This political spending dwarfs his charitable giving and raises conflicts of interest now that Musk holds advisory positions in the Trump administration, including co-leading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, where he potentially shapes regulations affecting his companies. SpaceX receives billions in government contracts. Tesla benefits from EV tax credits, and the FAA, which Musk has criticized for delaying SpaceX launches, is now subject to his influence through advisory roles, creating what critics call unprecedented conflicts. Musk has stated he plans to spend a lot less on future political campaigns, claiming he's done enough, but the damage to his public image among many who once admired his innovation is profound. The political spending reveals priorities. $250 million for a presidential campaign, yet the foundation struggles to meet its 5% annual distribution requirement. It's a contrast that fuels criticism of billionaire priorities. So what's the final accounting of how Musk and his family spend this $500 billion fortune? The reality defies simple narratives. The vast majority, probably 95% plus, remains tied up in company equity, funding ambitious technological ventures that Musk genuinely believes serve humanity's long-term interests. He stated he wants to die on Mars, preferably not on impact, encapsulating his view that making life multiplanetary justifies his wealth accumulation. Personal spending exists but remains relatively modest compared to other billionaires of similar wealth. The $75 million private jet fleet is substantial, but arguably necessary for someone running multiple companies. The $3.40 billion plus Texas real estate portfolio serves primarily business purposes, with the $35 million family compound representing genuine personal spending to accommodate his unconventional family structure. The vehicle collection focuses on Teslas for brand promotion, with only 2 gas-powered classics retained for sentimental value. Watches, jewelry, and collectibles represent rare splurges totaling perhaps a few million rounding errors on his fortune. Family support is significant but not extravagant by billionaire standards. Ex-wives receive substantial settlements, tens of millions each, but not the billions some billionaires receive in divorces. His children enjoy trust funds and elite education, but they're not being groomed as idle heirs. Some are already pursuing independent paths, and one, Vivian Wilson, has publicly distanced herself from her father and his wealth. Siblings Kimball and Tosca have leveraged family connections to build substantial independent fortunes, though neither approaches Elon's stratospheric wealth. Mother May maintains her frugal habits despite access to luxury, while estranged father Errol lives comfortably but separately on his modest millions. The philanthropy presents the most troubling contrast. Approximately $657, 800 million donated through 2023 sounds impressive until you calculate it as a percentage of wealth. It's less than what some middle-class families donate proportionally. The foundation's persistent underpayment of required distributions, the concentration of grants within Musk's network, and the tax advantages that save him billions all paint a picture of philanthropy optimized for personal benefit, rather than maximum social impact. When political spending exceeds $292 million in a single cycle, triple his annual charitable giving, priorities become clear. Yet here's the complexity. Is SpaceX's push toward Mars colonization not a form of species-level philanthropy? Is Tesla's acceleration of the electric vehicle transition not worth more than any amount of charitable donations? Musk would argue, and many supporters agree, that his companies represent his real contribution, that building the infrastructure for humanity's future among the stars, or solving climate change through sustainable transport matters more than any food bank or scholarship program ever could. The counter-argument is equally compelling. Immediate human suffering demands immediate relief. Children going hungry today need food banks, not Mars rockets. Students drowning in debt need scholarships, not promises of interplanetary civilization. The billions hoarded in a foundation that consistently underdistributes could fund thousands of urgent interventions. The $500 billion fortune, if liquidated over time and donated, could transform millions of lives immediately, but instead it funds ventures whose benefits remain theoretical and decades away. There's also the question of what spending this fortune even means when most of it exists only on paper. At current spending rates of $1 million daily, it would take over 1,200 years to exhaust $500 billion. But Musk can't actually spend it that way. Selling substantial portions of his Tesla or SpaceX stakes would crash their values, destroying the wealth before it could be spent. He's trapped, in a sense, by the very system that generated his fortune, able to leverage it for loans and investments, but unable to truly liquidate it without demolishing the companies that created it. His family experiences this paradox too. They benefit from associations with the world's richest man, access, opportunities, financial support. But they also face scrutiny, inflated prices, and the burden of the Musk name. Tosca noted that being a Musk is a blessing and a curse. Restaurants charge more, people treat you differently, every business decision gets examined through the lens of nepotism. The children grow up with extraordinary privilege, but also intense public interest, privacy invasions, and complex family dynamics that no amount of money can simplify. Perhaps that's the real answer to how Musk's family spends this fortune. They mostly don't. The wealth compounds, the investments grow, the companies expand, and the actual spending remains a tiny fraction focused on business operations, selected luxuries, family accommodations, and strategic but minimal philanthropy. Its wealth as potential energy stored in equity and options and stakes, occasionally converted to kinetic energy in the form of acquisitions or donations or real estate, but mostly existing as a number on Bloomberg terminals and Forbes lists, real enough to shape industries and politics, abstract enough to feel almost fictional. For a man who wants to die on Mars, perhaps it's fitting that most of his fortune remains in orbit, circling but never quite landing, powerful in its gravity but distant from the everyday transactions that most humans recognize as spending. The $500 billion fortune isn't really being spent at all. It's being leveraged, deployed, reinvested, and accumulated, funding a vision of humanity's future that may vindicate or condemn the concentrated wealth that made it possible. Only time will tell which. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.